Y News with Angelo Castro III, William Theo, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. Authorities continue to determine the cause of the explosion of a water tank in San Jose del Monte, Bulacan Water District that killed several individuals and injured some residents nearby. Victor Cosare will tell us why.
Scattered roofs, damaged houses, establishments, police stations, vehicles, as well as uprooted trees. These are just some of the damages left when a district water tank burst in the village of Muzon in San Jose del Monte, Bulacan at 3 in the morning today. 4 were confirmed dead in the incident. They were identified as Jimmy Garcia, Elaine Chamzon, Jaina Espina, and Nina Luis, who were both 1-year-olds. Meanwhile, 43 individuals were injured and were brought in various hospitals. Based on the initial investigation, the water tank was left open when the explosion occurred. Authorities are now examining the structure to determine the cause of its explosion.
I will be meeting my technical group, no? Kasi tinitingnan namin pati yung mga bolt nito, kung paano nang itsura ng pagkasira. Kasi lumalabas ngayon, no? Lahat ng walls na nakapaligid parang bumaliktad. Parang bumaliktad siya. Normally, isa lang. Kung magkakaroon ng leak, magkakaroon ng sira, dapat isang side lang magpupuntahan yung tubig doon sa side na may sira. Pero ito lahat ng angle
According to Engineer Loreto Limcolyok, the General Manager of San Jose del Monte Water District, there is nothing wrong with the design of the tank. Its design capacity was 2,000 cubic meters. Since the population when the construction began was only few, they stopped to 1,000. And since the population is increasing, they decided to push through with the original design of 2,000 cubic meters. But the local government of Bulacan, unconvinced of the engineer's explanation, decides to conduct a separate investigation on the incident.
Pina-validate namin, no? Kasi tinitingnan namin kung meron ba nagpasabog or ito ay base ba sa engineering structure na pagkakamali. So hindi namin mag-determine pa hanggang ngayon.
Una ay ito pong lugar na to ay kinukonsider natin na scene na pwedeng dito mag-imbestiga lahat. Ating preserve for future investigation. Ating experts from the explosives from the EOD para atin pong ma-roll out na kung sakasakali po na wala pong traces po rito ng explosives.
The incident has left an estimated of 1 million worth of damages. The management of the water district vows to help the injured and the families of the casualties.
Yeah, this is an accident. Responsibility namin yung facility na to. Dapat lang natulungan namin.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA and mall operators agree on certain adjustments in mall schedules this holiday season. Leslie Longbo and Will tell us why.
Heavy traffic is anticipated during holiday season. Thus, Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA has prepared a traffic management plan together with mall owners and operators. Starting October 15, malls will start to operate at 11 in the morning.
Opening ng mga mall na ito ay hindi nasasabay sa rush hours, 11 o'clock, at yung closing ay hanggang 11, 12, hanggang kailan ang gusto nila. Malaking bagay yan na makakabawas sa traffic.
Mall operators also agreed to adjust their delivery time for non-perishable goods from 11 in the evening to 5 in the morning. Also, mall sales shall only be held during weekends.
We know that this is for the good of the public, and when the traffic is also good, it will also be good for business.
Meanwhile, MMDA also gave advice to consumers this holiday season.
Planuhin ang biyahe, kung pwedeng iisa lang yung nakasakay sa sasakyan, kung pwede mag-carpool na lang para isang sasakyan na lang para sa marami.
The adjustment will be effective until January 15, 2018. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
Students will soon enjoy a 20% fare discount even on weekends, and the discount will cover transport network vehicle services like Uber and Grab. Here's why from Abby Santa Ines.
15 senators signed a committee report on the Senate Bill 1597, or proposal that seeks to give discount to fares of students even during weekends and holidays. Based on the proposal, students will get a 20% discount on their fares in public utility buses and jeepneys, taxi cabs, tricycles, transport network vehicle service, shuttle service, public and private railways, flights, and sea travels. To avail of the discount, students just have to show their school ID or validated enrollment form supported by other documents. Some students are glad with the said proposal.
Mas maganda po yun para makatipid ka. 100 po. Kalahati po yun pamasahe ko.
Siyempre mas pabor po sa amin yun kasi mas makakatipid po kami. Discount yun. So yung discount po na yun, pwede pa namin ipandagdag sa pangkain po namin. Kung pati po Grab tsaka Uber, ayun, mas accessible po kasi sa amin yun nowadays.
Based on the said Senate bill, those who would not give discounts will face fines. However, some drivers are not in favor of the proposal since the students prefer to ride TNVs than taxi cabs.
Hindi pabor sa amin. Kasi may na biyahe namin eh. Dapat kung pwede yun, so pwede i-charge. O, di na kami kumukuha. Sapat-sapat lang. Wala lang naiipon. Isa kapos. Kasi yan, dumating yung Grab Uber. Parang hindi mo napunta pa sa rest namin lahat.
Uber Philippines, meanwhile, says they are ready to provide discounts to students, senior citizens, and persons with disability. Abby Santaines, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
It will not be easy for Congress to pass a law that will penalize a person creating and spreading so-called fake news. This, according to Senate Majority Leader Vicente Soto III. Here's why from Nel Maribohok.
Siguro meron tayong pwedeng mga batas na matalakayan pero content-driven. Hindi pwedeng yung outright fake news, ganyan. Kasi ang tatamaan dyan yung mainstream media eh.
Senate Majority Leader Senator Tito Soto argued that in passing a proposal to enact a law on fake news, the rights of the journalist must be put into consideration. He in particular mentioned the freedom of speech and expression that the media and the people are enjoying. Soto made this comment after Liberal Party Senator Bam Aquino expressed his determination to push for the enactment of a law penalizing persons or groups who create and spread the so-called fake news in line with the Senate's probe on the matter.
Palagay ko yung panawagan na yung fake news i-penalize at siguro mas doblehin pa yung penalty kung public official ka na nagbibigay ng fake news.
Senator Soto also emphasized that not all persons have the capability to track down entity or individuals behind the spread of a fake news on a specific social media platform.
Ang problema kasi doon sa pagpapile ng libel, kung meron kang pamamaraan or accessible sa iyo ang mga kagamitan or people that ma-identify mo yung tao.
Soto adds that there are some alternatives that can be considered, such as registration of bloggers or persons on a social media platform. Under the Anti-Fake News Bill, authored by Senator Joel Villanueva, violators will be fined of up to 5 million pesos and imprisonment of up to 5 years. Those who aid in the creation or spread the identified fake news will pay a fine of up to 3 million pesos and imprisonment of up to 3 years. Also, a media organization or anyone in the media platform who refuses to remove the false news will face a fine from 10 to 20 million pesos and 20 years imprisonment. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA confiscates 5 million pesos worth of shabu from the house of Maasim Sarangani Mayor Anicento Lopez at early dawn today. Aside from the shabu, authorities also confiscated suspected ecstasy, drug paraphernalia, laboratory equipment, various firearms and ammunitions, and a list of what PDEA claims other drug personalities. The mayor was not at his home when authorities conducted the raid, but he surrendered to Senator Manny Pacquiao several hours after the raid. Mayor Lopez said he did not resist arrest when the PDEA team arrived at the house of the senator. The Armed Forces of the Philippines considers Maguindanao and Cotabato as the most threatened areas of the country. Rosalie Cos explains why.
The military has been diligently monitoring and gathering of information to prevent another armed crisis such as that in Marawi City. AFP spokesperson Major General Restituto Padilla points out that the provinces of Maguindanao and Cotabato are the most threatened areas to date because of the presence of armed groups supporting mounted terrorists there.
Because there remains in those areas sizable numbers of armed men who have pledged allegiance to the group who are in Marawi.
The official also reiterates that martial law is needed to end the atrocities in Mindanao.
Ang martial law sa Mindanao ay hindi magtatapos sa pagtatapos ng bakbakan sa Marawi. Kasi meron pa tayo hanggang katapusan ng taon upang ganap na magawa ang ating kinakailangan gawin para ganap na masabi na itong mga pagtatangkang rebellion na ito ay hindi na mangyayari muli.
Meanwhile, the military revealed that certain groups are now being monitored by the AFP for possibly supporting the mounted terrorists. Padilla says once they have gathered enough evidence, they will proceed to file appropriate legal charges.
And we're conducting our thorough research on these people because it may be possible that they have been part or accessory to the rebellion.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The police are focusing on the possible threat of terrorism in Iligan City following the crisis that broke out in the nearby city of Marawi. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
The war in Marawi City is about to come to an end. Despite this, authorities are now focusing on the possible threat of terrorism in the nearby Iligan City. This after the Philippine National Police received information that some supporters of the mounted terror group are recruiting new members in the city of Iligan.
Pero posible na mayroon pa rin mga supporter o sympathizer na anytime pwede silang mag-organize, gagawa din ng hindi maganda. So yun ang isa sa mga pinaplano natin dito sa Iligan na ma-address natin.
Just last week, some members of the ISIS-inspired mounted terror group surrendered to authorities. The police noted that with this development, the terrorists are recruiting new members.
Before, naka-receive tayo ng info na nagre-recruit sila online. Nagre-recruit sila sa mga eskwelahan. Ngayon, yung nakukuha natin na information ay doon mismo sa mga mosque sila nagre-recruit.
Because of this, the PNP will hold a meeting at the soonest possible time with Sultan leaders, imams, and masjid administrator to immediately address and monitor the area of their jurisdiction. Meanwhile, Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP spokesperson Major General Restituto Padilla says they have yet to receive any information about the alleged recruitment of new members of the mounted terror group.
Sa panig namin sa headquarters, hindi pa nakakarating sa amin yan. Pero noon pa man, meron ng mga lumabas na mga impormasyon na nagsasabi na patuloy pa rin yung kanilang recruitment. Kaya nga po, itong pagkakaroon ng martial law ay nagiging mainam dahil nagagawa natin na kunin yung mga tao o arestuhin ang mga tao na maaring pinaghihinalaan nating may ginagawang hindi kanais-nais.
Until now, the terrorism threat in Iligan City remains under the severe extreme category, and authorities have yet to determine when will it be lifted. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines assures to not participate in any destabilization plot against the Duterte administration. Abby Santa Ines tells us why.
Mapagkakatiwalaan niyo po ang inyong armed forces na gagawin natin ang nararapat lamang. At ito yung nakalagay na mandato na dapat naming gampanan sa ating konstitusyon.
This was a statement of the Armed Forces of the Philippines spokesperson Major General Restituto Padilla when asked about the issue of destabilization against the current administration. Padilla believes the soldiers experienced compassion and concern from President Rodrigo Duterte as their commander-in-chief. And so, he's confident that no one in the AFP will take part in any destabilization plot.
At kung ito i-link natin sa mga usapang destabilisasyon, hindi ho manggagaling sa hanay ng armed forces yan. Best because we know that the commander-in-chief we have a commander-in-chief who has malasakit for every soldier and is doing his end of the bargain of taking care of every uniformed man who are doing their job.
The military continuously monitors areas with ongoing armed conflict and where the presence of armed groups is high. Padilla adds that they are monitoring against a report of attack against the government.
Kung ang ibig sabihin ng ating mahal na Pangulo ay yung pagpaplano, mayroon po kaming nakikita na iba. At hindi lang naman po yung oposisyon ng dito, kaya ang binabantayan po talaga ng armed forces ay yung mga armadong grupo.
Abby Santa Ines, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Bulacan Sebet leads in the number of YouTube views among the last batch of Wish Recovery Wishfuls. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
Power viewing for the last batch of Wish Recovery Wishfuls has already closed. 90-year-old Wishful from Bulacan, Louie Ann Kulala gets the lead with 18,258 views. Hindi mo lang alam kay tagal ng panahon. Princess Sevillana is next with 16,345 views. Bukas na lang kita. Meanwhile, John Harvey Magos gets 15,559 views.
Kailangan kita ngayon at kailanman.
Then King ranks 4th with 14,218 views.
Huwag mo sanang isipin, ikaw ay aking lilisanin.
Jenny May Mabini comes close with 12,753 views.
Isa lang ang buhay mo, kumilos ka, gamitin mo.
The number of YouTube views will comprise 30% of their scores. The remaining 70% will come from the comments of the resident reactors. The 4 Wishfuls from the last batch who will complete the Wishful 16 will be revealed tomorrow. Wish Recovery episode is uploaded on Wish 1075's first YouTube channel every Saturday at 9 in the evening. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Next on Y News. Appointees of the former President Aquino or the former Aquino administration joined supporters of Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales in a solidarity event today.
Senate minority threatens to block the budget of the Bureau of Customs for next year due to the unresolved issue on the billion peso worth of drug shipment from China.
And BFP firefighters aim for a top 4 spot in UNTV Cup Season 6 as they prepare to clash with the Senate defenders on Sunday.
Y News will be right back. Appointees of the former Aquino administration joined the supporters of the Ombudsman in a solidarity gathering today. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
Hundreds of supporters of Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales gathered at her office building today to show sympathy amid the controversies Morales is facing at present. Among those present in the solidarity event were former cabinet members under the previous administration. Former DSWD Secretary Dinky Suleman questioned the timing of the creation of the Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission.
Bakit mo itinatayo ngayon? Dahil iniimbestiga ka? Meron nga ho ba kayong bilyon o milyon?
Suleman adds that the Ombudsman shouldn't be surpassed as she is just doing her duty. The former secretary also calls on President Rodrigo Duterte to allow an investigation on the allegations against him, particularly his alleged hidden wealth.
Destabilizer, ganyan, hindi po yan ang issue. Ang issue po, meron ho ba kayong bilyon o wala? At malalaman lang po yan kung pipirma kayo ng waiver.
For his part, former DepEd Secretary Armin Luistro fears the persecution against the Office of the Ombudsman. They want to show to Morales that they support her in performing her mandate.
Kailangan ng bayan na merong nagko-correct, merong nagbabalance at hindi pwede nating takutin sila.
Morales did not attend the event but extended her message through Luis Tro.
Sinabi niya na maraming salamat sa inyong suporta. Nais ko mang sumama sa misa, baka masamain pa at sabihin ay ako ang nag-organisa at sabihin na pinupolitika ko ito.
Former presidential advisor on the peace process, Jing Deles, and former CSR chairperson Eta Rosales were among the known personalities present in the solidarity event. Her message was just read by one of Morales' subordinate. Morales vowed to continue in doing her job as the ombudsman. Malacanang, meanwhile, responds to the criticism against the president.
Unang-una, there is no hidden wealth. Hindi nililis. It has not stopped them. To the mind of the ombudsman, it has the power. It has a legal basis because there is a provision in the Constitution. But even if there is a provision that it can investigate, the fact is the subject matter of investigation are acts allegedly committed by this president when he was mayor. So how can you do that?
Ray Pilayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Senate Minority Leader Senator Franklin Drilon threatens to block the budget of the Bureau of Customs for next year. Nel Maribuhok tells us why.
We will oppose the approval of the budget of the Bureau of Customs unless this administrative order is amended, which amendment has been pending for I don't know how long.
The Senate Minority Bloc opposes the 3.1 billion peso proposed budget of the Bureau of Customs for 2018. According to Senator Franklin Drilon, the minority plans to block its passage until the issue on expanding the pre-shipment inspection towards a stricter policy on entering cargoes be resolved first. The current customs policy states a pre-shipment inspection does not cover the containerized cargoes.
There is an existing administrative order which requires a pre-shipment inspection. But this only covers bulk cargo, non-containerized shipments, and therefore did not cover containerized cargo, which were the 604 kilograms of shabu was found.
It is already 10 years after BOC terminated its contract with a private company who did pre-shipment inspections. Some issues surfaced resulting to the termination of contract.
The World Customs Organization and the World Trade Organization do not look with favor to pre-shipment inspections. I don't know why.
Pre-shipment inspection is done at the point of origin of the cargoes before shipment to other countries. Senator Franklin Drilon emphasized that if only stricter policies were imposed, the shipment of the billions of peso worth of shabu would have been prevented from entering the country. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
The move by President Rodrigo Duterte to form a presidential anti-corruption commission draws flack. The Senate President, meanwhile, steps forward to defend the President on the issue. Grace Casin tells us why.
Magdalo Party List Representative Gary Alejandro believes the creation of Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission is unconstitutional and redundant. The lawmaker argues that such a commission will only be used for the President's benefits.
Ito ay maliwanag na isang threat and intimidation sa ginagawa ng Ombudsman, and this is also an assault to the independence of the Ombudsman.
Members of the Liberal Party or LP also criticized the said proposal of the President. Senator Franklin Drilon says the President may use the said executive order to impose discipline or possibly control over the officials of other branches of the government, like members of the Congress, Judiciary, Civil Service Commission, Commission on Audit, Commission on Elections, Commission on Human Rights, and the Office of the Ombudsman. Drilon explains the creation of Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission would violate the constitutional independence stated under the Constitution. Ifugao Representative Teddy Bagilat meanwhile says the plan of the President is a clear intimidation to the Office of the Ombudsman and aims to harass the critics of his administration. On the other hand, administration ally Senate President Coco Pimentel says the chief executive has the authority to create a separate organization. He says the executive branch should be able to detail the functions of the said commission.
Let's assume na totoo na may corruption sa loob ng Office of the Ombudsman, below the Ombudsman. Saan tatakbo ang taong bayan? Sa Ombudsman. Dapat tapos kung ikaw ang Pangulo, parati mo naririnig yung ganong reklamo, papabayaan mo, hindi ka action. So, I agree with the organization of a commission. Pero just be conscious kung ano ang pwede nilang gawin. Dapat alam nila yung extent of their powers, yung hangganan ng kanilang kapangyarihan. The executive branch cannot discipline the ombudsman.
Grace Casen, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
Presidential Chief Legal Counsel Attorney Salvador Panelos says his camp is studying on questioning a particular provision giving the Ombudsman the power to investigate impeachable officials before the Supreme Court. Attorney Panelos said the investigation of the Ombudsman on President Rodrigo Duterte contradicts the doctrine of immunity of a sitting president from lawsuits.
My theory now is that the Ombudsman's investigation currently of the president is unconstitutional, even if there is a provision in the Ombudsman's law that it has investigatory power, because to my mind it will circumvent the doctrine of immunity of a sitting president from suits. We're studying the circumstance that we might question that particular provision, giving the Ombudsman the investigatory power to investigate an impeachable official for purposes of filing an impeachment complaint.
President Rodrigo Duterte fires 2 employees of Malacanang. The president says the 2 were just using influence they have for their own interests.
I even fired today, I signed firing 2 people from Malacanang for using their influence. Yung empleyado dyan, tapos kung anong pinagsasabi sa labas na malakas. I hate that.
Presidential spokesperson Ernesto Abella, meanwhile, refuses to name the fired employees.
Meanwhile, prosecutors and employees of the Department of Justice today wore black to work. Roderick Mendoza tells us why.
Since October last year, 6 government prosecutors were ambushed. 5 were killed. The one who survived is still in critical condition until now. Wearing black today, prosecutors and employees of the Department of Justice condemned the series of killings of their colleagues.
Gusto naming ipaalam na ito po ay aming mariin na kinokondena at ang aming pong dasal ay matigil na po itong mga tinatawag na brutal o senseless killing.
The motive behind the killings appeared to be work-related. Among the solutions being considered is to arm the prosecutors to defend themselves.
Mayroon ngayong napag-usapan at intensyon na mag-aaral o mag-practice ng pamamaril at bigyan ng baril ang mga prosecutors sapagkat kung naman bibigyan ng security ay medyo magastos para sa mga prosecutors.
In his 18 years at the DOJ, Senior Assistant State Prosecutor J.P. Navera has handled several sensitive cases. Among them are the Maguindanao Massacre case and that of PDAF scam whistleblower Ben Hurlui. He has received death threats on some occasions.
Just speaking in general, so some of us receive text messages, and these text messages are, they imply that something will happen if you don't do this or do that. In my experience, I just ignore them, and sometimes I change my number.
He welcomes security escorts for prosecutors, but only when the threat is most serious. For him, the best way to avoid threats is being honest with their jobs.
The best way actually to avoid all these threats is to be professional be fair with all the parties, so that parties, the accused themselves, even the complainant, would know that you're just doing your job.
Roderick Mendoza, UNTV, News and Rescue, Department of Justice.
In other news, the Bureau of Internal Revenue has withdrawn the tax evasion complaints against Mighty Corporation. In its motion before the Department of Justice, BIR stated that a settlement with Mighty has been approved concerning the company's excise tax liabilities worth 37.88 billion pesos. The tax cases stemmed from the seizure of millions of packs of Mighty cigarettes bearing fake tax stamps. According to the DOJ, they have no other choice but to grant the withdrawal of the complaints against Mighty. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre says the BIR provided no details about the settlement, but as far as he knows, the company has already paid its taxes.
Under our National Internal Revenue Code and our other tax laws, compromising or settling a tax case is allowed, and thus we could consider this case as closed and the government of the Philippines richer by 40 million pesos.
Janet Lim Napoles filed a not guilty plea in the graft and malversation case filed against her. Napoles was among those charged in connection with the PDAF scam together with former Davao del Sur Representative Douglas Cagas. The said cases are aside from the other charges she is facing with several senators.
The BFP firefighters vows to push harder in every game of UNTV Cup Season 6. Bernard Daddies will tell us why.
To stay ahead of BFP.
Nice lead. Bakat. Oh, yes, sir. Valentino, step left. No. Yang Kiling. Block.
Despite a loss from the PNP responders in this season's opening game, the BFP Firefighters is ready to prove it is a team to beat in the League of Public Servants.
Kailangan namin pakita na talagang we're really strong team. So, dadagdagan pa namin yung mga effort namin. Tsaka yung, syempre, lack of conditioning pa kami. Medyo konting conditioning pa kami para maka-cope up kami sa mga kalaban namin. Ang unang target namin is makapasok kami sa Final Four.
The Campa playing coach Gilbert Malabanan will use its firepower, which includes Phil-Am ex-pro player Robert Wainwright, who makes his debut this season. Seasoned big man fire trainee Kurt Amores and point guard fire officer 1 Julius Hayona. The firefighters will display intensified action against the Senate defenders led by Senator Sonny Angara, Joel Villanueva, Bam Aquino, and Manny Pacquiao. The defender shooters also include Deputy Secretary for Administration, Commission on Appointments Joey Flaminiano, and Director General Ronald Golding. The Senate team managed by Senator Ralph Recto now has on its side Jeffrey Sanders, who is expected to pump up the team together with power player Marlon Legaspi. Watch the Firefighters Defenders UNTV Cup battle live on Sunday, 5 in the afternoon, emanating from the Pasig City Sports Center with live streaming via UNTVweb.com. Bernard Daddies, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Coming up on Y News, the Philippine National Police share survival tips to the public on how to survive or escape from an active shooter.
U.S. gun lobby agrees to examine bomb stocks after the deadly mass shooting in Las Vegas.
And New Yorkers geek out at Javits Center for the 2017 Comic Convention.
More from Y News after this break. The Philippine National Police, or PNP, releases survival tips to the public on how to survive or escape from an active shooter. Mon Hokson tells us why.
Within just 11 minutes, 58 people died and more than 500 were injured in a mass shooting committed by a lone active shooter in a Las Vegas concert in the United States. It has been considered as the worst mass shooting in the modern U.S. history. According to experts, active shooters can be considered psychopaths or people with violent social behavior.
Magugulat ka na lang dahil kasi nakakapag-create sila ng certain behavior para hindi malaman na meron silang maitim na balak sa ibang tao or meron silang gagawing masama.
Since it is difficult to determine when a psychopath will commit a crime, the Philippine National Police or PNP releases some survival tips regarding the matter derived from the measures imposed by the U.S. Police Department. If you have been in an area with an active shooter, remember these tips. Run, hide, and fight. First, run away from the active shooter and look for a safe place. Evacuate yourself, whether others agree to it or not. Don't force to bring all of your things and just run fast away from the shooting. Help others to evacuate and prevent others from going near the area where the shooting happens. Immediately call the police hotline 911. If you can go out of a building or room, for example, look for a safe hiding area. Remain alert and secure the place you're in. Close the lights, lock the doors, and put your cell phone in silent mode. If there are no rooms or safe areas, hide behind huge objects to avoid getting hit by bullets and remain silent. If you or the lives of your companions are already at risk, defend yourselves. Try to disarm the active shooter in any possible way you can.
Ang kailangan lang, maging aware ka sa mga nangyayari at kailangan alam mo ang gagawin mo kung ang insidente na hindi ka nais-nais ay mangyayari.
The task of the first responders in such an incident is not to treat the injured, but to prevent the shooter from further shooting. The PNP reiterates that when faced with an active shooter, remember to run, hide, or fight. Mon Hokson, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Aren't you Will a comic collector or is it toys?
Toys.
So you're a geek.
Yes, I am a geek. A
Favorite,
toy geek.
what are your favorite toys?
Voltus 5. I like the Bandai robots. I also like Star Wars.
That's our era. How about you? Barbie.
Yeah, I'm more on novels actually, not toys.
More on books. Yes,
Yeah,
more
sorry.
educational, Diego.
Sorry about that. Those are the reasons behind the news. October 6, 2017. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am William Theo.
And I'm Darlene Basingan because we need to know
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching
why news.